Okay, the last thing, and we're going to end with this, is the second question. Where do you want to go? So think about this. Again, we know where we're starting. Now you have to figure out where do you want to go to, right? And so we've got to determine that. And so you have to define your when. You have to define what your when is. And so on your sheet there, I think it has defining your when is how you begin. Right. Nice little rhyming quote, right? So first, define your when, or describe your when, I think I have on there. Define or describe your when. And then number 2, your end goal should be, this is something I feel very strongly about. Your end goal should be either a character trait, a skill set, or a virtue rather than a result of, I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to have $1 million, or I want to do this. It should be, your goal should always be, if let's say it's financial, I want to learn how to manage money well. And then the byproduct, which is the next line you fill out, the byproduct will be you get $1 million if you learn how to manage your money well. Does that make sense? Right. Yes. I need to live a healthier life. I need to exercise and work out and do all that stuff. And so I need to learn how to live a healthier life. And then the result will be I'll lose weight, or I'll get stronger, or I'll do this. I need to learn how to be more calm when I'm at home and I'm a good husband. And then my marriage will get stronger and we'll be happier and all that stuff. So you should always strive for the character trait or the virtue or the skill set, and then you go from there. And I read something from, who's the money guy? Dave Ramsey. I read something from, I think it was from Dave Ramsey, and he said, you could give somebody, whatever trait a person has with money, their money management skills, if they are cheap, and you give them $1 million, they're going to be cheaper. If they are generous and you give them $1 million, and with their $5,000 they make, and you give them $1 million, they're going to be much more generous with $1 million. If they blow their money all the time with $10,000 and you give them $1 million, they're just going to blow their money bigger and they're going to lose all that money. So whatever your trait is, it doesn't matter if you get a lot more of it, you're just going to mess up the same way. So you have to fix your character and your skill set and all of that first, and then the results will come afterwards. Okay? So that's very important to understand, that your end goal is always becoming better at the management ability or whatever it is. And then the material things and the resume virtues, all those, accolades and all that stuff, they'll come once you develop the skill set. And so those are the byproducts, or the scoreboard. Am I a good money manager? Well, I went from $10,000 to $1 million, and I still have $1 million, and I'm doing good. That's the byproduct and the scoreboard that we can kind of see how we're doing. So to live a life of your dreams, you have to know what that life is, your dream is. And so I want you to write down everything you want out of life and make a list as exhaustive as possible. So what I did, I broke your life up into 8 categories. And so what I want you guys to do is say, where do I want to be financially? Where do I want to be, spiritually? And describe it. And on the back side of it, I wrote like some examples, okay? So, this is kind of what I want to be. This describes what I want to be. And so use that kind of as like again, something to grease the skids to help you think of what you want to put on there. And then write those out, because you got to know where you want to go, so you need to write out what those are. And then starting next week, we're going to talk about, okay, how do we get from your starting point that we have to that? And we're going to create a map, and we're going to help you get there, okay? So every goal should be not financial, I want $1 million. It should be, I want to become a very good money manager, or whatever, whatever your issue is that you want to work on. And figure out your dream life. And that gives you some examples. And here's the thing, and we'll be done in about 1 minute. My goal for this class and in 2 weeks is to kind of be your wake-up call. It's like, come on, guys, don't drift for another 30 years or however old you are. Let's figure out a plan and let's move toward it. And I want to be your wake-up call, and I want to help you close the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. And I want to give you tools to help you do that, and we'll figure out how to use each other to help each other and motivate each other and be accountable for each other. And we'll talk about a lot of the ways we do it. So instead of justifying where you are and making excuses as to where you are and how I got the raw deal and that's why I'm the way I am, forget that stuff. Let's figure out how to fix it and move forward, okay? And so here's the thing. I've given you guys some homework, okay? So what I would love for you to do, all these little exercises we did, just look at them sometime over the next 2 weeks and make them a little more robust. We didn't have a lot of time to fill them all in, but just look at them, take some time, get away from everybody, and just make them more solid. And I'll tell you what, I'm not going to make you guys come up here and read them or anything. It's yours, okay? And if you don't do your homework, that doesn't mean, well, I'm not going because I'll be embarrassed because I didn't do my homework. But do it so you don't have to be embarrassed deep down inside. Okay? I want to encourage you. You got to try. So do that. And then my last thing, the second part of the homework, and it's on your list there, is find a recipe. Find a recipe as to, and I don't care how deep it is or anything, but let's say you want to lose 10 pounds. Go on the internet or something and say, what's the best way to lose 10 pounds? And find one of them that you say, okay, that's reasonable. I like that. It may not be the one you ultimately do, but it's an illustration that we're going to use next week. So if you're having a hard time with your spouse and you're fighting, how do I improve my relationship with you can Google anything and it'll tell you how to do it, right? It'll give you 5 steps and everything's perfect, right? But find a recipe of whatever category of life you want to do, and find a recipe, and then I'm going to talk to you about that and how we use those recipes and how we get to where we want to go. So can everybody do that for me? Amen. Who all promises they'll be back next time? Okay, good. All right. So be back, and we're going to have one more time. It's going to be fun, and we'll keep going.